Rain is forecast for some parts of the country over the weekend, but will it be enough to help drought-hit farmers? I'm joined now by Federated Farmers President Bruce Wells. Hi Bruce, thanks for coming in this morning.
Hi.
So drought affects different farmers in different ways. So let's talk about dairy farmers first and the impact it's having on farmers who have milking herds.
Sure. Dairy's pretty vulnerable because they need green grass constantly to keep cows milking. So what we've seen is a lot of alternative feeds being brought in, things like PKE, silage, maize, the like grain. But then they move to once a day milking often, and then drying off cows. So this will impact quite severely the production of dairy products around the countryside. We're talking, the latest figures I saw, about a 20% reduction of milk production in Northland, some 15% in Waikato. And of course it's falling very quickly at the moment, and we live in hope that this rain might turn up on the weekend, but the worrying aspect is if it continues on much longer.
I guess too for farmers, there are so many knock-on costs. So if you're forced to be feeding out silage at this time of the year, then really that's coming at a cost too, isn't it?
Listen, it's a significant cost to our dairy farmers particularly. They cope with this thing slightly differently to sheep and cattle farmers. Sheep and cattle farmers normally prefer to destock, and they have a little bit more flexibility around stock class. For the dairy farmer, it's important to keep that milk production flowing.
So when you're talking about destocking, you're talking about farmers who fatten up stock,
Sure.
Beef and lamb. They're keeping their capital stock, I would assume, but they're getting rid of their fattening stock. What impact does that have on them financially then?
Again, it hits pretty hard. I guess what we're doing is, I'm a sheep and cattle farmer in Hawke's Bay, and we've been selling lambs much earlier than we would normally and at much lighter weights. So that impacts the market, and then of course we're also when you get what we call a drought rush to the markets, the supply-demand equation comes in, and often the price softens back as well.
Well, I was going to say, what do we like to see as an impact of this for consumers on, I guess, the price of beef, the price of lamb, the price of milk? Is it just a basic supply and demand equation here?
It will be a little bit, and because we are significant exporters, we certainly have seen the dairy price, the global dairy platform auction price move up over recent weeks. I think that will continue. It doesn't always follow that pattern. The sheep and cattle guys, I guess, they've seen a big fall off in their prices for their prices for the product, particularly sheep meat. So, and that's probably due more to international factors rather than local factors.
OK, we have some rain coming.
We do.
Unlikely to be perhaps enough by the sounds of it. How long will it take for the country to recover from a drought, and how much rain do you need? Listen,
good question, because I think a lot of people assume that when the rain comes, drought's all over. That's not the case. It's for farmers, it's a good rain is the beginning of recovery, I guess. It's going to take 3 to 4 weeks in many places to grow some decent grass cover after that rain, and then we've got stock condition that may not be quite where it should be. So this is going to have a kick-on effect into next financial year, and it's going to affect balance sheets not only in this financial year but next as well, because we've got more animals being sold, animals not producing what they should be. So it's a long game to get through a drought like this.
Let's just hope for some rain. All right, appreciate your time this morning, Bruce Wells, Federated Farmers President.